In the western United States, Colorado and Wyoming are considered mountain states due to their rugged terrain. Each of them has unique geographies, both in terms of physical and human geography, with some similarities but notable differences. Let's compare both in this month's State Comparison Series episode. Colorado and Wyoming both have intricate and unique histories that shape the development of the western United States. Colorado, admitted into the Union in 1876, is known as a centennial state because it gained statehood 100 years after the Declaration of Independence. Its history is deeply tied to its rugged landscape, which attracted Native American tribes like the Ute, Arapaho, and Cheyenne for centuries before European exploration. The Pikes Peak Gold Rush of the mid-1800s spurred significant migration to the region, transforming it from a sparsely populated area to a booming frontier territory. Colorado's mountainous terrain and rich mineral resources fueled its development, particularly through mining and railroads, helping shape the state's modern identity as a hub for outdoor recreation, industry, and tourism. Wyoming's history stretches back thousands of years, with Native American tribes such as the Arapaho, Cheyenne, Crow, and Shoshone calling the region home long before European explorers arrived. The area became part of the U.S. following the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, and its vast plains and rugged mountains were explored by fur trappers, traders, and early pioneers. In the mid-1800s, Wyoming was a key route for travelers on the Oregon, Mormon, and Bozeman trails. The Union Pacific Railroad played a pivotal role in its development, spurring settlements like Cheyenne. Wyoming became a U.S. territory in 1868 and made history by granting women the right to vote in 1869, the first state or territory to do so. In 1890, Wyoming joined the Union as a 44th state, cementing its place as a land of wide open spaces, rich cultural resources, and a legacy of independence. In today's State Comparison Series episode, we are going to compare Colorado and Wyoming. The video will focus on both physical and human geography. In terms of physical geography, we review three main factors: the geomorphology, meteorology, and ecology, while with human geography, we review four main factors: the demography, urbanization, economy, and geopolitics. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Our World, Our Planet, Our Home, if you enjoy learning about geography, both physical and human geography. Let's get started. Geomorphologically, both Colorado and Wyoming are quite varied due to their physical size. Colorado is split into three physical areas: the Eastern Plains, the Front Range, and the mountains. The Eastern Plains are pretty much an extension of the Great Plains of the United States. This area becomes slowly more elevated from the Kansas border westward, averaging between 3,300 feet to 7,000 feet. In this area is where Colorado's lowest point is, at the Rickery River at an elevation of 3,317 feet, making it the highest lowest point of any U.S. state. The Front Range is within the central part of Colorado and is also where most of the population lives. Here, elevations start to increase dramatically, especially on the western side of cities such as Denver and Colorado Springs. West of this is where the highest elevations of the state are found, within the Rocky Mountains, with Mount Elbert being the highest peak at an elevation of 14,440 feet, second in the continental United States to California's Mount Whitney, and third overall to Alaska's Denali. Wyoming has a similar landscape to Colorado. In the eastern part, the state mostly has rolling plains of varying elevations, between 3,200 feet to 7,000 feet. The lowest elevation is the Belle Fourche River at the South Dakota border, measuring 3,101 feet, the second highest lowest elevation after Colorado's. Westward, Wyoming's elevation starts to increase progressively, with the plains meeting the Rocky Mountains. The Teton Mountains, a mountain range of the Rocky Mountains, are the most notable mountains within the state and lie south of Yellowstone National Park, located in the northwestern part of Wyoming. The highest peak is Gannett Peak, located south of the Teton Mountains in the Bridger Teton National Forest at an elevation of 13,810 feet, fourth highest of any U.S. state. Onto meteorology, the Intermountain West is home to irregularities. Colorado's mountainous and rugged terrain allows the state to have many different climate types, with some being classified as microclimates, especially in areas where the elevation changes rapidly. The less varied Eastern Plains region is classified as a Type B semi-arid climate with hot and dry summers and cold to sometimes mild snowy winters. But the Rocky Mountains to the west create unusual situations where cities such as Denver can experience very changeable weather, especially during the fall and the spring. For example, urbanized areas of the Front Range can have sunny summer-like conditions one day, and the next, wintry snowy conditions. Snowfall here can occur as early as October and as late as May, but varies from year to year. Within the Rocky Mountains, most elevated areas feature either a Type D subarctic climate with mild to warm short summers and very cold and snowy winters, or a Type B tundra climate at the highest elevations above the treeline. Severe weather, while not as common as in places further east, does occur in the Plains region, with part of the eastern region of Colorado being within Tornado Alley. Wyoming has a similar climate to Colorado, but by being further north, it can be colder, especially during the winter. Much of the eastern part of the state is considered to be either a Type B, semi-arid climate, particularly precipitation patterns, or a Type D continental climate connected to temperature ranges. Cheyenne, the state's largest city and capital, has a semi-arid continental climate with hot and dry summers and cold to cool snowy winters, with changeability occurring quite often, especially during the fall and the spring. Within the Rocky Mountains, elevation plays a crucial role in climatic conditions, and is either associated with the Type D subarctic climate, featuring mild short summers and long and cold snowy winters, or a Type B tundra climate, cold most of the year. Ecologically, Colorado and Wyoming share many ecological similarities due to their proximity, but they also have key differences. Both states feature the Rocky Mountains with similar alpine and forest ecosystems, as well as semi-arid plains with grasslands and sagebrush. Wildlife like the elk, mule deer, and black bears are common in both. However, Colorado has more varied altitudes, leading to greater ecological diversity, including desert ecosystems in the west. Wyoming is home to unique geothermal ecosystems, particularly in Yellowstone National Park. So while they share common ecological zones, their differences create unique environmental characteristics in each state. On to human geography, let's start off with demography. This category is where both Colorado and Wyoming share drastic differences. Colorado has a total population of 5,877,610 people, ranking at 21st nationwide. But people within the state tend to live within the Front Range urban corridor, where large cities such as Denver, Colorado Springs, and Fort Collins are. In fact, 5 million people live there, close to 90% of the population. Racially, Colorado is a majority white state at 69.4%, and the largest minority group by a wide range is Hispanics, representing 21.9% of the population. Blacks, Asians, and Native Americans make up the other notable minority groups at 4.9%, 4.7%, and 2.1% respectively. Ethnically, Germans make up the highest group at 22%, followed by Mexicans at 18%, and English and Irish both at 12%. Wyoming has a total population of 584,057 people, 50th behind even Alaska. Considering that it's the 10th largest physical state, the population density averages around 6 people per square mile. Some have said that Colorado's population grew early on because of the gold and silver mining booms that attracted prospectors to the state. Even with other western states seeing increasing population growth, Wyoming's has only grown gradually. Racially, Wyoming also is a majority white state at 81.4%, and the largest minority group is Hispanics at 10.3%, which has risen in recent decades just like other western states. Native Americans make up 2.4% of the population, and blacks and Asians make up 0.9% each. Ethnically, the three largest ancestry groups are German at 26%, English at 16%, and Irish at 13.3%. Urbanization patterns in Colorado and Wyoming sort of follow demographic ones, as Colorado has larger cities and metropolitan areas than Wyoming. The largest city and capital of Colorado is Denver, with a city population of a little over 716,000 and a metro area population of 2.9 million. Colorado Springs, further south than Denver, ranks second in population with a little over 488,000 people, and Fort Collins to the north ranks fourth with around 170,000. Of the most populated cities, the first of those not located in the Front Range is Grand Junction in western Colorado with 69,000 residents. Due to Colorado being a newer state, transportation is mostly car-orientated, and communities are connected by a series of interstate, U.S., and state highways. Some notable interstates include I-70, an east-west cross-country highway running from Baltimore, Maryland to Cove Fort, Utah, I-25, a north-south interstate running from Buffalo, Wyoming to Las Cruces, New Mexico, I-76, I-270, and I-225. Denver was home to Stapleton International Airport from 1929 to 1995, but due to it being outdated, a more modern international airport was constructed in a larger, more isolated area and opened in 1995. As of 2023, it was the sixth busiest airport in the world. Wyoming, being smaller, has smaller cities, with Cheyenne being the largest city and capital with around 65,000 people, and a metro area population of around 100,000. Cheyenne is the second smallest largest city of any U.S. state except for Vermont, and is the most non-centralized capital in the United States. Rounding out the top 5 cities in population are Casper, Gillette, Laramie, and Rock Springs, the only one not located in the Front Range. Similarly to Colorado, Wyoming is connected by highways, including I-80, a major east-west interstate going from Teaneck, New Jersey to San Francisco, California, I-25, which also goes through Colorado and conveniently connects Wyoming to it, and I-90, the longest interstate highway in the nation, traversing through the northeastern part of the state. Economically, both Colorado and Wyoming have varied industries that have made both economically stable. Colorado has a state GDP of around $530 billion and a per capita income of around $91,000 a year, which is among the highest nationwide. Colorado's economy is highly diverse and dynamic, with key sectors ranging from technology and aerospace to agriculture and tourism. The state has become a hub for innovation, particularly in the Denver and Boulder areas, attracting tech companies and startups. Aerospace is another major player, contributing significantly to the state's economy. Colorado's natural beauty also supports a strong tourism industry, with millions visiting its national parks, ski resorts, and outdoor recreation spots. Additionally, agriculture plays a role, especially in rural areas, producing cattle, grains, and vegetables. Overall, Colorado's economy blends high-tech industries with traditional sectors, creating a robust and resilient economic landscape. Companies headquartered in Colorado include Lockheed Martin Space Systems, a division of Lockheed Martin that focuses on aerospace technology, including satellite and space exploration systems, Dish Network, a major provider of satellite television and internet services, Western Union, a global leader in money transfers and financial services, and VF Corporation, a company that owns popular brands like the North Face, Vans, and Timberland. Wyoming has a state GDP of $49 billion and a per capita income of around $84,000 a year, on the higher end of states. Wyoming's economy is deeply rooted in natural resources, with energy production playing a major role. The state is one of the nation's top producers of coal, natural gas, and oil, which contributes significantly to its revenue. Wyoming is also a leader in renewable energy, particularly wind power, due to its vast open spaces and strong winds. Agriculture, especially cattle ranching and sheep farming, remains a vital part of the state's rural economy. Tourism is another key industry, with millions visiting Yellowstone National Park, Grand Teton National Park, and other outdoor destinations. Overall, Wyoming's economy is resource-driven, combining traditional energy sectors with growing renewable energy and tourism industries. Companies headquartered in Wyoming include Cloud Peak Energy, a major coal producer and operator of several large coal mines in the Powder River Basin, Teton Gravity Research, a leading producer of outdoor adventure films and content, particularly focused on skiing, snowboarding, and other extreme sports, Wyoming Machinery Company, a company that provides heavy equipment, especially for mining and construction industries, and is a major Caterpillar dealer, and First Interstate Bank System, a company providing financial services throughout the state. The geopolitics of both Colorado and Wyoming are quite different from each other. Colorado's first presidential election was in 1876 when it became a state. Its electoral votes went to winning Republican Rutherford B. Hayes. The state voted Republican until the 1892 election, when it gave its electoral votes to third-party populist candidate James B. Weaver. At that time, Colorado was the leading producer of silver and had a strong agricultural sector within the Plains region, and economically, these areas were hurting from the policies of the Republicans. Weaver promoted policies that appealed to struggling farmers and workers, such as the free coinage of silver. In the next two presidential elections, Colorado voted for losing Democratic candidate William Jennings Bryan, but voted for winning Republican Theodore Roosevelt in 1904. Through the 20th century, Colorado flip-flopped between Democratic and Republican candidates, with Republicans winning more elections from the 1960s to the 1980s. In the 1990s and 2000s, Colorado evolved into a swing state, voting for Democrat Bill Clinton in 1992, but Republican Bob Dole in 1996, and Republican George W. Bush in 2000 and 2004. But then in 2008, Colorado voted for winning Democratic candidate Barack Obama, and since then, the state has turned into a somewhat safer bluer state. This also trends to the U.S. Senate, where Colorado has two Democratic senators, Michael Bennet and John Hickenlooper, and in the House of Representatives, 5 Democrats and 3 Republicans. On the state level, Colorado has a Democrat governor, Jared Polis, who was elected in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. Wyoming became a state in 1890, and its first presidential election was in 1892, when it gave its electoral votes to losing Republican Benjamin Harrison. Then, in the very next election in 1896, Wyoming gave its electoral votes to losing Democratic candidate William Jennings Bryan, but voted Republican again in 1900. During the first 65 years of the 20th century, Wyoming flip-flopped between Republican and Democratic presidential candidates. But this trend ended in the 1968 election, when the state gave its electoral votes to winning Republican Richard Nixon. Since that election, Wyoming has voted for all Republicans in presidential elections, differing from Colorado's trend of becoming more Democratic. In the U.S. Senate, Wyoming has 2 Republican senators, John Barrasso and Cynthia Lummis, and in the House of Representatives, 1 Republican, Harriet Hageman, who defeated incumbent Liz Cheney, daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, in 2022, and went on to win the general election. On the state level, Wyoming has a Republican governor, Mark Gordon, who was elected in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. While Colorado and Wyoming share the rugged beauty of the Rocky Mountains, their distinct geographical features and diverse landscapes set them apart in remarkable ways. Colorado's towering peaks, vibrant cities, and vast high plains offer a blend of natural wonder and urban life, while Wyoming's wide open spaces, expansive prairies, and legendary natural parks like Yellowstone highlight its untouched, wild character. That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like geography, both physical and human geography, you'll love my channel. So be sure to subscribe to my channel, Our World Outplan Our Home, to view more interesting videos. Until next time!